He's trying to keep the diet as plain and as boring as possible. Not very sustainable, but as I said with Chris Bumstead, this is a former Mr. Olympia champion. Do you know how dedicated this guy is? He can follow this diet. Can you? Coach Greg, and today we're going over two-time Mr. Olympia champion Breon Ansley's diet as he preps for the Mr. Olympia. You are not going to believe just how strict he has to diet to get in shape. Not going to believe it. You might be thinking, oh, my diet sucks. I'm eating too low calories. Well, boo-hoo. Just wait till you see just how strict and just how low this guy's calories have to be. And remember this, he's over 200 pounds of muscle, yet he has to eat under 1,700 calories a day to get in shape. So we're going to learn from Breon. He makes some very good points in the video. We're going to talk about his diet and see how can it apply to you and how can you also get in shape the way Breon is, but obviously not to that extent.
We are 9 weeks out as of tomorrow. I like to think 7 because I like to be ready, guys, 2 weeks out. So it's 7 weeks for me in my mind. So it's go time.
So he's currently 9 weeks out from the Olympia, but in his mind, he only has 7 weeks left to diet because he wants to make sure that he is absolutely shredded 2 weeks before the show, just to be sure.
Let's take you guys through preparing these meals. All right, 5 of them we got.
And you can see he's already in amazing condition. He's already leaner than 99% of people will ever be. But yet he still needs under 1,700 calories a day to get shredded. And why is that? Well, because he needs to get mind-blowing shredded. Not okay shredded, not somewhat shredded. He needs to be the most shredded guy in the show because he's trying to beat out Chris Bumstead. And as you know, it's calories in, calories out, and he's calculated that he needs to be on this strict of a diet in order to get shredded in time for the show. And you might be thinking, not even Brandon Harding cut his calories that low. Yeah, you're right. Well, won't he lose muscle? Yeah, he will lose muscle. But guess what? He's competing in classic physique, and look at the size of this guy. Do you think he's concerned with keeping every single ounce of muscle? No, of course not. He has to make the weight class. So if his goal was to get bigger, to put on more muscle, and he was on a 1,700 calorie diet, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be a good choice. But that is not what he's trying to do. He's trying to get shredded. He has more than enough muscle, probably too much, probably has to lose muscle just to make the weight class. So for Breon, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
if his diet is this low in calories.
Guys, I usually like to crack all my eggs, use real eggs instead of the liquid egg whites. You just don't know the processing of those egg whites.
So don't go orthorexic on me. You don't need to panic about if egg whites put in a carton are not as healthy as fresh egg whites where you separate and throw out the yellows. That's, in my mind, going a little bit too far. Those egg whites, they're perfectly healthy, perfectly safe. So you don't have to go out and buy whole eggs, throw out all the yellows, rather than buying egg whites.
And then we're gonna put a whole one in there. That whole one is crucial too, guys, because egg whites are pretty bland, right? Egg whites are pretty bland.
So it does offer more calories and fat, but he's also adding it to add in more taste.
Because I don't dress I put pink Himalayan sea salt on my foods.
And he's not a fan of condiments. He's trying to keep the diet as plain and as boring as possible. Not very sustainable, but as I said with Chris Bumstead, this is a former Mr. Olympia champion. Do you know how dedicated this guy is? He can follow this diet. Can you? Probably not. So if you can't follow a diet this strict, feel free to spice things up and literally add spices. Add low-calorie condiments. Make the diet taste good. If it tastes good, you're more likely to follow it, stick to it, and get the results you're looking for.
A regular diet and a prep diet are two different things. When you're dieting and when you're dieting for a show, two different things.
And I love this comment. A regular diet and a prep diet, those are two different things. If you're trying to get shredded, do not copy someone competing in the Mr. Olympia. It's two completely different things, two different goals. The Mr. Olympia is for freaks, for amazing specimens of human beings. If you're just looking to lose weight, you don't copy the way a Mr. Olympia competitor diets. It would be the same thing like being a beginner and copying a Mr. Olympia training routine. It doesn't make sense. If you take up bike riding, you don't ask Lance Armstrong to give his Tour de France training routine. It doesn't make sense, yet so many people think they need to diet and train like Mr. Olympia competitors in order to get shape.
We get 1 tablespoon of almond butter, which I enjoy so much, that 1 tablespoon. It's not a lot, but whoo, it hits because I love almond butter so much.
I thought it slaps. Doesn't it slap? It hits. Is that a new thing, or is that what older people say? Breon, he's getting close to my age. Maybe it hits is how older people speak. It slaps is for the younger people.
1 tablespoon of almond butter, which is 16 grams. 16 to the dot. You see that? Oh, probably gonna change. We're down to 14. Let's get 2 more grams in there again.
And look just how obsessive he needs to be. He's measuring out his peanut butter, and he's got 14 grams, 16 grams, going back and forth, puts some on, has to get the extra 2 grams out because heaven forbid he puts 2 grams under what he's supposed to eat or 2 grams too much. Now listen, that's important for the Mr. Olympia competitors, but not for you. It's all right to be off by 1 or 2 grams. Having 5 or 10 calories too much or too little is not going to make a difference when it comes to your overall diet. So please, don't become obsessive. You start weighing your food down to the gram and worrying about every little thing. Sometimes it's hard for people to get out of that, and orthorexia or other forms of disordered eating can start to develop. So yes, it's a good idea to weigh your food, find out the calories you're eating, but please don't become too obsessive. So meal 1, cup of eggs and a whole egg, that's not even 200 calories. 1 tablespoon of almond butter and a 4 ounce, that's only a half a cup of juice. Not a big breakfast for a Mr. Olympia 200-pound specimen of a human being. And meal 2 is 6 ounces or about 170 calories of white fish and a half a cup of asparagus and 1 omega-3 fatty acid tablet. That is not a lot of food, and chances are if you copy this diet, you're likely to be very hungry.
Numero 3 is pretty much the same thing, but a little addition.
And meal 3, not much different. 6 ounces of white fish again, and a cup of leafy green type vegetables. So very, very low in calories. Now, if he wanted to be more full without adding in a bunch of calories, he could easily be doubling or tripling up on the vegetables. Half a cup of asparagus versus a cup, there's not much calories in asparagus. Leafy greens, there's hardly any calories. You could go from 1 cup to 1 liter and hardly add any calories. So if you're actually hungry, why not add more vegetables and fruits?
And also a half a cup of olives. I've been liking olives, guys. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I wasn't an olive dude.
And he adds in a half a cup of olives, and I do believe that's because he's trying to get a lot more fat in his diet. Olives are very high in fat. 100 grams of olives have about 120 calories and 11 grams of fat. So you're adding in a very high calorie dense food item. Not the kind of food you want to add in if you're hungry or trying to be full, but the Mr. Olympia competitor, he likes it. He likes the salty taste of it, and the fats is something he wants in his diet. And yet another meal, 6 ounces of white fish as well as a cup of broccoli. And listen, no rice. You thought it was chicken, broccoli, and rice. He's cut out the rice. He's on such a strict diet that he can't even have the rice. Honestly, I have no idea how he's going to have the energy to train, but some people, they just have better genetics than others. If I were to copy this diet, I would have no ability to function. I wouldn't have the energy to train hard, and it would feel like a nightmare. I could never do this, but that's just Coach Greg. So please, if you don't have this kind of amazing genetics to diet this strictly, don't do it in the first place, because if you do, your willpower, your determination, it will eventually run out, and you'll likely rebound and regain all the weight back and then some. He's also adding in more omega-3 fatty acid gel caps in order to get the healthy fats that he needs in his diet.
A half cup of olives.
And yet again, he's having olives. I've never seen anyone ever eat olives the way that Breon does, but hey, nothing wrong with that. He needs those fats. Most people would eat avocado. He's choosing olives. Makes no difference to me.
I like to have my carb meal, since it's only one, before training to give me the energy to train.
And here's his carb up meal. Finally, he's gonna get in some carbs because he's going to do a hard workout at the gym. 4 ounces of salmon, half a cup of sweet potato, and half a cup of olives. So think of it, a half of a cup of sweet potatoes is a carb up meal for Breon, who's about to do an intense workout at the gym. To me, that would be a low carb meal. Even on a diet, if I ate that few amount of carbs, I would consider that to be a carb depleting type of meal. Half a cup is next to nothing, but hey, he needs to be on 1,700 calories to get shredded in order to meet his goals.
And this is a treat right here too, guys. This is a meal that I really enjoy and I really love.
And think of it, this is a treat meal for him. He can't wait for this. This tastes amazing for him. 4 ounces of salmon, half a cup of sweet potato, and half a cup of olives. Where on this planet would that be a treat meal for anyone? I mean, I would have a hard time just eating this, but for him, this is delicious. Like Mike Thurston. And you see the macros go up on the screen, carbs, 21 grams. 21 grams of carbs is a carb up meal for him to go and work out in the gym. Next time I hear you complaining on your diet, remember what Breon Ansley is going through and look at his physique. He looks shredded already. He's 9 weeks out. He already looks like he's well on pace to get shredded, but yet he has to cut this hard just to make sure that he's mind-blowing peeled for the competition. But as he said, there's a big difference between dieting for a competition and just dieting for a normal person. This is not something you need or should follow.
And now 5. Time for meal 5. 4 ounces salmon, half cup veggies of choice.
Half a cup. This is not for a child. This is for a grown man. Just want you to realize, if you're trying to copy this, there would be nothing wrong with doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of vegetables in this diet. And a snack before bed, a 4-ounce glass of juice with 20 grams of collagen protein, and a tablespoon of flaxseed.
Cannot sleep on omega fatty acids, guys. It's so great for your heart, for weight loss, for brain function.
And he definitely is getting enough omega-3 fatty acids. This diet is actually very high in fat, especially considering it's only 1,700 calories. He's having salmon multiple times during the day. He's having flax seeds, and he's taking omega-3 fatty acid tablets. So definitely has a high diet in fat. And finally, for the first time today, he gets to have a half a cup of berries. Berries, very low calorie dense foods, very low in calories and healthy. So awesome to see Breon having his berries. And what's just shocking for me is to see all 5 meals lined up. He prepares them all in advance, and I'm thinking, I could eat that in one sitting, and I probably wouldn't even be full. So I got to give it to Breon. This man is an animal. He can survive on next to nothing and still train hard, looks good, feels good. He has lots of energy in this video. He has no trouble speaking. It doesn't seem like he's suffering. So he clearly has the God-given genetics that you want to be a top Mr. Olympia contender.
And then, since sleep, guys, with prep is so important as well.
And Breon does go on to say he does take a sleep aid because sleep is paramount. It's crucial to your recovery. If you're not sleeping, how can you grow effectively? I 100% believe in that, and I have in fact got a sleep aid that's going to be released very soon. It's been done for several months, but because of the COVID, taken longer than ever to make anything happen this year, and so it's frustrating, but it's coming out soon, so keep your eyes out on the sleep aid that I have developed. As you know, I've said in the past, to me, a sleep aid, it's even more important than a pre-workout. If I had to choose between one or the other, the sleep aid, to me, it's more important because if I'm not sleeping, I might wake up in the middle of the night, you might be hungry, you can't get to bed. How can you recover? And you just feel off the next day if you don't get a good night of sleep.
So are we ready for the count of calories on the total amount of what all this is? Are we ready?
So he says 1,698, feeling great, and he might drop down even more. Imagine having to drop down even more. And this is how I feel overall. If you need to cut on 1,700 calories or less, if you're a male, then it probably means that you were eating too much in your off season. But I've looked at Breon and he doesn't seem to get sloppy in the off season. He's not an overly chubby guy. So perhaps he just left his diet a little bit too late. We don't know how many calories he was eating before this. Maybe he looked at the calendar, said, oh goodness, it's 9 weeks out already. I'm not as lean as I need to be. Last year wasn't quite lean enough. Not going to make the same mistake. I'm dropping my calories lower than last time. We don't know that. But I can say this, if you have to cut calories this drastically, the chances are you're eating too many calories in the off season. The smaller the calorie deficit, the more likely you will retain or build muscle when you're dieting.
We really want to be ultra tight, super sharp, way sharper than last year.
So his hopes is he can get completely mind-blowing shredded early before the Olympia and then add in more calories to fill up his glycogen stores and not appear flat on stage. Time will tell if this strategy works. Wishing him the best. He should be a top contender in the Olympia. He placed third last year, but I do believe he's a top contender. I still think Chris Bumstead will win, but I do believe Breon is going to be in the top 3. And let me remind you, you don't have to diet and suffer to this extent to lose weight. I have something, it's called a cookbook, low-calorie, delicious recipes that keep you full, satisfied, that taste amazing. You don't have to just eat chicken, broccoli, and rice, hold the rice in order to get shredded. You can eat delicious meals that are satisfying, that taste great, that don't make it feel like you're dieting. This is the kind of diet you need to be on if you want to lose weight and keep it off for the rest of your life. The diet you need to follow, the circle diet, a forever diet, one of which you don't feel like you're dieting. You will be on a diet, lose the weight, and keep it off because it doesn't feel like a diet. The key to dieting is to not make it look like a diet. If you're not actually dieting and enjoying everything that you're eating, you're not going to be tempted to cheat, eat extra calories, and go off the plan. So please, if you're looking to lose weight and keep it off, consider getting one of my cookbooks. I have more than one. Get one, go from there to see what happens. Also, as you see in the back, Harder Than Last Time supplements can be purchased. Click the link in the description. Also looking for ambassadors to help sell and promote the products, and we will pay you to do so, so please apply to do so. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, IB Pro. Me and my team, we do coaching plans. Subscribe, click the bell button, and until next time, I am out.